Hi everyone, you're back with The Lone Wolf. Welcome to the show. Today I'd like to talk about online dating, mainly just to explain how futile it is for most men. Now look guys, I've been there and tried it. I've used probably all of the apps over the last few years, more as a social experiment than anything else. Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, Happen, it's all garbage, man. The rates of success were appalling across the board. Out of literally thousands of swipes across 4 countries, 2 continents, and about 5 years, I can reveal that I successfully reached the first date stage on 3 occasions. On one of the 3 dates, the girl was actually as hot as her profile suggested, a solid 7.5/8 out of 10. The second one stubbed me up, and the third tried to sell me real estate. That's a story for another time. Interestingly, all of the dates were obtained through Bumble. I know of only one dude who is in a long-term relationship from using Tinder, and 2 other women who are now married as a result of using Match. Now, my miserable success rate could have caused me to become disheartened, my confidence could have taken a big hit, self-esteem and all that. For my own part, I can disclose that I am successful in my field, I'm building a career in multiple fields and businesses, I have a lot of different passions and talents, I'm over 6 feet tall, and have been told on numerous occasions that I'm good looking by female friends. I don't want to brag or emphasize any of that too much, but why does this not translate to the online platforms? The answer lies in the design of the apps and the male thirst. On the surface, online dating sounds like a tremendously useful concept in line with the rest of the technological advancements of the early 21st century. Yet at its base level, all it serves to accomplish is further inflate the egos of the women on the apps. A great many of them probably already have boyfriends or husbands and just use the apps for validation. The others either have no intention of finding a man or are so overwhelmed by the amount of messages they receive that the chances of the average guy engaging her in conversation are remote. Let's take Tinder for example. In principle, you swipe left or right depending on whether you're into the girl or not, and if she does likewise, you match up and have the chance to send her a direct message. That's only the beginning because the likelihood of you actually sending a message to her and receiving a response are utterly remote. The fact is, if she is even moderately attractive, she will be able to swipe right on any man and clock a successful match. So, not only does this hugely inflate her ego knowing how desirable she is, she can be much more selective in who she matches with. Of all the dating apps, Tinder is the worst in my view for finding women. It's rife with entitled women in their early 30s or older, often single mothers. In fact, one I saw was heavily pregnant and had a list of demands for her potential date that made me laugh out loud. She was complete and utter trash. Bumble isn't much better. This app gives the power to the women in making the first move. You match in a similar manner to Tinder, but the woman has to initiate contact with you to spark the conversation. This saves a bit of time compared to Tinder because on the latter you could spam out hundreds of messages to girls you're attracted to and never see a response. Hinge develops things a bit further by allowing users to provide more in-depth background information and responses to specific prompts. It fashions itself as the app designed to be deleted, whereas I would call it the app designed never to be downloaded in the first place. Hinge and indeed all of the apps mentioned here are programmed to frustrate the user by only allowing a certain amount of swipes per day before you need to pay up. Hinge takes this a step further, it seems, by offering standout profiles that are always way more attractive than those offered by standard swiping, but you have to pay to buy roses to signal interest in the girl. This cruel and exploitative mechanic is designed to prey upon weak-willed individuals by fearing the loss of such profiles and thereby paying to play the game. This makes Hinge perhaps the most insidious app of them all at present. I haven't even discussed the other platforms like Match, OkCupid or Plenty of Freaks, Plenty of Whales, whatever you want to call it. And I don't think I need to, as it's well established how appalling they are for men. One just needs to trawl the Reddit forums to find tales of guys who've sent hundreds of messages and gotten maybe 1 or 2 responses. Just imagine if they'd repurposed those words into a blog, newsletter or a book, novel, and so on. Let's take a look at some research, shall we? I have an article here from Pew Research that states, the survey also asked online daters about their experiences with getting messages from people they were interested in. In a similar pattern, these users are more likely to report receiving too few rather than too many of these messages, 54 versus 13%. And while gender differences remain, they are far less pronounced, and here's the crucial part. For example, 61% of men who have online dated in the past 5 years say they did not receive enough messages from people they were interested in, compared with 44% of women who say this. I have another article here written by a woman wherein she describes being at the gym, atop a stair climber watching a dude rapid fire swipe right on every profile he could. She honestly found this surprising, thinking to herself, won't he have too many matches? And this demonstrates the complete lack of understanding of the male experience. Who can blame guys for being efficient? It's easier to swipe right on every profile and sort through the confirmed matches later on than try to be selective in the first instance. This is just common sense. Women, on the other hand, are often overwhelmed by the sheer volume of messages in their inbox. The only thing worse than playing the game is the fact that some men outsource the labour of engaging in this garbage to virtual assistants. Check out the article in the description box from qz.com. Some dudes have appreciated the fact that online dating is so much of a disaster that they are willing to pay women to impersonate them. How embarrassing. The article mentions that these so-called virtual dating assistants could charge anywhere from around $500 to $1,500. Bro, just hire a professional once a month and be done with it. Or better yet, invest it in passive income streams or a holiday to Thailand. What does this level of attention, of ego inflation, do to the female psyche? If the boot was on the other foot, I'd be exactly the same. Men need to walk away from this garbage and focus on themselves. Don't play the game. It's rigged, and it will only drain you unless you're in the top 5% of men. I'm sure it used to be the top 20%, but I'm now thoroughly convinced it's the top 5. The average guy has next to no chance of competing. Now, I personally strive, and would urge you all to do likewise, to make yourself more than the average, to improve each and every day, and become someone of high value. Use the time to get in the gym and train, build yourself up using the compound lifts, get your diet on point, stockpile your money on resources, focus on your books, blogs, reading, education, and most importantly, do it for you and you alone. Strive to be the definition of a Renaissance man. Another issue that I've yet to address in this video is the quality of woman that you're looking to attract through the apps. What is the likelihood of finding a woman that isn't entitled, arrogant, overweight and self-centered, who doesn't value what a man can contribute and who doesn't understand how a man thinks, who doesn't respect you in general? The chances of finding this online using these apps is absolutely minuscule. Forget about it, man. You will not find the needle in the haystack here. If you're in your 30s, the likelihood of a potential match having children in tow is hugely inflated. She'll want to settle down and find the right guy, sick of being played and all that. But she had no problem giving a child to a complete loser and frittering away her youth on the carousel. Let's say you spend 2 hours per day aimlessly swiping across 2 or 3 dating apps. Just think what could be done if you directed that time and energy into a passion, pursuit, or educational endeavour. You could teach yourself pretty much anything, using the vast array of resources available. You could complete a course on Udemy or Masterclass, links in the description. Develop your mind and intellect, learn an instrument, teach yourself how to code, trade, invest, learn a language, the list goes on and on and on. On reflection, given these horrendous odds and the principle of opportunity cost, it would seem more logical to take the money you would have spent on a series of dates without any guaranteed action coming your way and take it to your nearest casino and put it all on black, or, better yet, and probably safer, buy crypto, add the cash to your 401k, trading account and so on. Put the fruits of your labour to work for you. One of the things I like to do is invest in entities called Real Estate Investment Trust, or REITs, specifically data centre REITs. These assets trade on a stock exchange just like an equity share, but importantly they own properties, specifically properties that house data servers and their infrastructure. The companies that make use of this infrastructure pay rent to the property owner, i.e. the REIT, and then the REIT has to distribute 90% of that income by law to you as a shareholder. So why not use that time you would have spent swiping to earn money instead? Buy a data center REIT and earn dividend income from the same people that are swiping and buying useless gimmicks through the App Store. None of this is investment advice, of course, but it's a good way of making a rigged game work in your favour. I'm probably going to cover some other investing topics in the future, as I think it's a very important part of going your own way, following the lone wolf lifestyle as such. To conclude, I highly recommend picking up Aaron Clary's The Book of Numbers, link in the description, that fleshes out a lot of these themes in more detail and adds statistical analysis and evidence. I hope you all realise the nature of the game and decide not to waste any more time, resources and energy on it. I hope you found the video useful. Don't forget to subscribe on your way out, and I'll see you next time.